It turns out your perspective on death holds all the answers to your life's greatest questions. And I wish I was exaggerating a bit or maybe even being dramatic because it would feel like a lot less pressure. But we're going to do it anyway. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Ethernet Lounge, my friends, the #1 safe space for a cosmic perspective. Today's topic, death, life, and how to get the most out of both. So before we begin, I want to kind of share the destination or my intention. By the end of the video, what I'm hoping is that you have enough information to know and lead a life that is so full, so complete, so holy. And that's not HOLY, that's WHOLLY. And purposefully and joyfully, and have led a life so good that when death comes knocking on your door, you can answer it and say something kind of like, death, my friend, I've been expecting you. Thank you so much for letting me stay here. Why don't you come on inside? I'm really proud to show you what I've done with the place. Now that's kind of where I want our perspectives to go. To be able to say that to death, personifying him a bit, if you will, to kind of make it a little bit more tangible, a little bit more easy to understand. And the alternative, I think, would be, someone's like, well, why should I care to say that to death when he comes knocking on my door? Why would it, he's going to take my life from me. He's going to take all my experiences I could have had, take me from my family. Why should I care to say that to death? And I think it's more along the lines of, it's not so much that you're saying that to death as in you're becoming a person who feels that that is what they want to say. Meaning, you've had such a good life. You left nothing on the table. You've had no regrets. You lived well. You're leaving behind everything that you want to leave behind, and you're leaving it in a good place. So answering the door and saying something like that to death isn't for death, it's for you. And if that's not enough to kind of persuade you into wanting to say it like that, let me ask what the alternative might be. Like, if you don't answer death like that when he comes knocking, what is it? Like, answers the door and it's like, well, you're not supposed to be here yet. Dude, I need more time. You can't just drop by unannounced. Can't evict me yet. I need 30 days notice. That's illegal. That alternative doesn't seem that great. It seems a little embarrassing to have to say something like that. And that's part of the feeling that you get. You don't want to have to say that to death. You want to be able to say the more grateful perspective. I've been expecting you. Thank you. Let me show you what I've done. And then you ask, well, why do I need death to show me how to live life? And you don't need death to show you how to live life. There's plenty of, exercises and ways to kind of think about what it is that you want for your life, how to make something possible. Tons of traditions, practices out there. But in my opinion, death is the most efficient teacher when it comes to teaching you how to live life. He's like the greatest master teacher when it comes to life. And the reason I think he's so efficient is because if you kind of look at other lessons that you might have in your life, death will deliver them pretty instantly. Okay, so for an example, let's say you have a friend and they're like, hey, don't spend so much time worrying about how you look, working out all the time and trying to find the finest threads. And you hear him and you're like, yeah, I get it. But then death comes and it turns out that you can't really take all those. You're not taking your body and you're not taking those fire threads and kicks that you got. Like, you might look really good in your casket, but that's about it. Or, your mom's like concerned and saying, hey, hon, you work way too much. You don't need to be making, you're worried so much about the money. Then death comes and it turns out you can't take any of that money with you. Or your partner's you guys are at dinner and your partner's like, hey, hon, are you okay? You seem a little distracted. And death comes and it turns out that your last thought was worrying about the bill instead of sitting there looking at your partner across the table, admiring how beautiful they look. So it's like these lessons that you could have now, that you could take and appreciate and understand and apply, a lot of times we take them for granted. And death's going to come and show it to us either way. So the question then becomes, at what point are we going to take life seriously enough to understand that death can give us the lessons now as a blessing to live life fully the way we want to live it, and not wait till he has to come and show us by force and ask us questions? Because he's going to ask us questions. So it's like, okay, so how do I do that? How do I get to that point where I can say those things, where I can say, hey, I've been expecting you. I'm grateful. Let me show you what I've done. And it comes with your perspective, how you're looking at death, right? We'll pick it apart little by little. But the two things that I want you to understand and have in the back of your mind is, as I see it, death's going to ask us to, it's going to be like, life is a course, like a class, Life 101. And at the end of it, death, the instructor, has a final exam, and it's like a two open-ended question. He's going to ask, what did you do with life? And who did you become? Then he's going to sit back and watch you answer, whether you're scrambling to find some sort of answer that maybe he'll let you come back, or you know exactly what you're going to say. It kind of is up to you. And I think this little chat we're having here is going to bring some clarity to that, because we're going to have a little discussion about death, maybe some questions to ponder, and then at the end I'm going to give you a written exercise that you can do to literally write down the design of what your life, what you want it to look like, whether you know that now or not. This exercise will give you that clarity. Here's the thing, as of now, you don't need to know what your purpose in life is going to be, because that's why we're asking death, to give us some guidance. You don't need to know why you feel lost, what you should be doing, who should you be talking to. None of that right now matters until you figure out, what is death asking of me? What will death ask of me when my time comes? And if we can think about it like that and work through it to get to how we answer the door, it's going to turn out really good. So let me get back to it. And we're going to dissect how we talk to him, how we answer the door. So in the first perspective to kind of shift from to is, when you answer the door, you say, I've been expecting you. And I know we all know that at some point we're going to die, but I think we take for granted when that time is going to be. I know no one is planning to die, but no one that has died has usually planned to die. I can't say no one. I'm sure there's some, instances out there, some sad, tragic incidents. But for the most part, we plan to live as long as we can. But the wise person with cosmic perspective, will say something really simply like, I know that if this breath that I'm taking now might be my last breath. And that's one of the lessons that death is trying to impart to us is, you could go at any moment. And it kind of ties back to that example where you're sitting across from your partner from dinner. They're like, you seem a little distracted and you're thinking about the bill, but you're literally not there present with them. And it's one of the questions that's going to ask us, what did you do with life? And to think and to expect death means that you sat there and soaked that experience in. What did you do with life? Well, I sat there and I got the most out of it that I could. I soaked it all in. I felt all the things. I tasted all the things. I touched all the things. I smelled all the things. I saw all the people I connected. I've had meaningful relationships. That's that part. That's that perspective of knowing that he's coming, but understanding it and not taking it for granted. And you could take it really extreme. I mean, well, then every meal I have will be like my last meal. He's like, you could. You definitely could. And if that would bring you some joy, then maybe it's not a bad place to start. But that's really that's a simple thing. Just know. You don't need to dive too deep into that, but just in the back of your mind when you're struggling with something, to put it in perspective on that thing that you're struggling with. It's like, what if I was going to die right today, like right now? Would this thing I'm worrying about be that big of a problem? How much effort, time should I put into it? Because if you look at it, the things that we spend on a daily basis doing everything, it's like, how much of that is really going to matter when we go? And then the next part of it, that phrase, which is increasing in significance, is saying, thanks for letting me stay a while. And to say that, your perspective has to be that your life is not yours. You're on borrowed time. Your life is owned by death. He gave you some time. Think of it almost like death is investing in you a little bit to see what you can make of life, to see what you can do, who you can become. And think about it this way. If you had a friend or an uncle or someone, a loved one, and to say, hey, I'm going to give you $1,000, no strings attached. I'll see what happens, whether you make a return on it or whatever. And then you take the $1,000, you say, heck yeah, thanks. I'm definitely going to take you up on that. You go about life and you're trying things and you don't really take it that seriously because he said no strings attached, so whatever. And then maybe you see him like at Thanksgiving or the next time you see them and they just bring it up casually. Hey, how's the business going? Hey, how's that thing you wanted to do? And like, what would you say? How would you feel is the more important part. And you got to think of it like that. You're on borrowed time. That's investing in you because he wants to see what you're going to do with it. What you're going to do with the life that he's giving you. So it's interesting to ponder. Now, the most significant part of thanking him for letting you stay here is really just the fact that you're in a state of gratitude for this life that you're given, because there's really only two states that you can be at any time. You can either be in a state of fear or in a state of gratitude. And that's what I was saying earlier about what's the alternative to saying to death? That no, I don't have enough time. Like, you can't just drop by. I don't have enough time. Give me more time. The death don't want to hear that. And what he's going to say is something like, dude, I gave you 30 years. Like, what do you need another week for, another day for? Like, you can't do that. You've had time. But the gratitude piece comes in when you're grateful for it, you don't fear death. And why don't you want to fear death is because whether it's like the exact fear of death, like that he's going to come for you, I think a lot of times it's more like, oh, I'm like scared of what I could miss out on. I'm scared that, I'm going to miss the next best thing. Or sometimes we're so caught up in the fact that we're worried about how to make the next thing we're going to do go right that we miss the thing in front of us that's so important. And cherishing that. And then death comes, it turns out we never got to the next thing anyway. So this gratitude piece, you got to shift your perspective from a state of fear of death, whether it's like, oh, you can say, oh, I'm not scared to die. I mean, it's true. A lot of us run around and we're not scared of dying. But maybe we should at least be thankful that we're not dead yet, that we're alive yet. You got to be in that state of being. And then the last part of it, I'm proud to show you what I've done with the place. I mean, probably the most significant part of the entire statement, because you're declaring, I'm proud. I am someone who is proud. And then wanting to show your work, wanting to show them what you did and who you became. And a large part of this whole life purpose, life questions, like, we're just trying to figure it out. Like, trust me, you're not alone. We're all just trying to figure it out. But death puts things into perspective, because when you're asking these questions, you're asking yourself, right? What would I do with the time? It's like you dig deep and you say, well, what if death came to me in my dream last night and said, hey, yo, get all your stuff together, like, get all your affairs in order. Today's gonna be the last time you wake up. Like, how would you live your life that day then? You'd be someone who doesn't worry about little things, someone who loves and kind of lets go of grudges, maybe. Because the main perspective is remembering that death's going to ask, who did you become to? And I want to be someone that's proud of what I've done, how I left things. Maybe, coming into the world and leaving it better than we found it. That's pretty noble. And it doesn't have to be some crazy purpose where you're changing the world. You don't need to change life. You don't need to change the world. What death is teaching us is that if we change who we are, then it changes how we respond and react to life. Because the same thing can happen to everybody. Everything happens to everybody. But it's how we respond to it that makes a difference. We respond with fear and we're scared of it, or we respond with gratitude and accept it and cherish that moment. And proud enough, becoming proud. So what does it mean to be proud? It means that you're confident. It means that, let's just take a step back and think, when do you feel you're most proud? It's like the days that you really poured it on. You know what I'm saying? The days that you sat there and you did the things that you said you were going to do. And 2, you did them well. And then you go to bed that day and you're just thinking, man, what a great day. Like, that's pride. Pride in yourself. Because you became someone that day that does those things. Became a man of your word, or, whatever it was. This is important stuff. This is serious stuff. This is life and death stuff. And death is there to teach us if we're there to listen. Keep an open heart, open mind. And then what I've done with the place. Well, yeah, because he's going to ask, what did you do with life? What are the state of affairs that you're leaving things in? Who did you touch? Who did you impact? Now, I know that sounds all like it's all really reflective and deep and personal, but how do I actually apply that into my daily life? Because I can't go around living my daily, everyday life like it's my last day. Obviously, I get that. And how do I become someone that's proud? Because right now, what if I'm like, I can't even picture saying that to death. I got so much going on. I have so much I want to accomplish right now. Or I don't even know how I would get there because I don't even know what I want. I don't even know what I want for dinner. So how can I possibly know what I want out of life? What can death do for me then? That's a great question, my friend. I think one of the most powerful exercises that you can do to design your life, to let death guide you into who it is you want to become, into what you want to do with your life, whether it's a large-scale, grand, or a simple life. But the key to happiness, the key to joy, the key to a full life lies in your death. And the exercise is this. It's a eulogy. A eulogy exercise. You're going to write your eulogy, but you're going to write it from the perspective of people in your life and your roles. Now, that was kind of confusing. Let me backtrack. There are roles that you play in your life on a daily basis. The roles are literally as simple as you're a son or a daughter, you're a father or a mother, you're you're an athlete, you're an employee, maybe you own a business, you're a coach, a teacher. There are things in your daily life you're responsible for, and you kind of play a certain role. You got to fit into this role. Well, this is where the exercise comes in. This eulogy exercise, it goes pretty deep, but the results, I'm telling you, the path, it lights the way to the life you want to live. And it makes it so simple that you just wake up and know why you're waking up. I mean, you can be so energized that you're excited to wake up. You don't hit the snooze button for 5 more minutes, 5 times. It's there for you. So the roles that you play, you're going to write all those roles down. For someone like me, it's like, I'm an employee, I'm a creative, I'm a writer, I'm a son, I'm a brother, I'm a partner, I'm a lover, fighter. I mean, just little things. I handle our taxes, so like my role is taxes. I'm a big part of managing the finances of my household, so that's a role. So what it comes down to is you write down all these roles, and then you write the eulogy from the perspective of someone who knows you as that role. So, for example, your partner. I think that's the easiest one. If you're in a relationship, your partner or your mom or a sibling, the person closest to you, this is the one you start with. And you write down what their eulogy about you would be. And the cool thing about this is that you get to really say all good things. Right? Questions like, and to get you started on it, maybe you might want to ask questions like, what made you so special and amazing at that role? What made you so special and amazing at that role? How did you make them feel? How did you show up for them? What kind of things did you say to them? How did you treat them? How did you show up for them? What will they remember the most about your relationship with them? What kind of things did you leave behind for them, and how are you leaving them? And what you're going to find when you do all these, it's up to you how deep you want to go, but I think the deeper you get, the clearer the vision about where you want to go. The beautiful thing about this is it has nothing to do with how to live a good life. It literally forms for you the answer of who is someone that lives a good life. It lays out clearly to you who it is. It's almost like projecting your mind into the future, saying, wow, these are all the things I did. These are all the things I said. This is how I left things. This is the impact I had on people. So you got to write this down. You got to commit. Take this seriously. This is life and death stuff. You want to live a really good life? Do you want to get to the end and say, thank you, death, I'm so grateful. Let me show you what I've done with the place. I think you'll be happy. I think your return on investment will be pretty awesome. Or will you ask for more time and be scared the whole time and not know? The beauty of it is that in a way it kind of answers that crazy life question. Like, what is my purpose? Well, my purpose is to live my life out to the point where that is exactly what people are saying about me when I go. In a weird roundabout way, you have told yourself who it is you want to become. And now the challenge begins. The work started there, but now the challenge is you know where you're going. So now you got to get going. Meaning, well, what do I need to do? Who do I need to talk to? What do I need to read? What skills do I need to learn to become that? what kinds of things do I need to emulate? And you go from there. And the beautiful thing about this is that you stop looking externally for all of life's things. Like, it has nothing, you've had the answer in you the whole time. You just gotta think and let death be your teacher. Let death guide you to the life you want to live. So work on your eulogy. Again, answer questions. How did you feel? How did you make them feel? What did you do for them? It's going to be a great year for you, great life for you, if you'll let it, if you'll express some gratitude to death for the life you're going to live. And hopefully at the end of it, you can thank him, you can be grateful, you can show him what you did and be proud of it. Anyway, thanks for joining. I love you. Have a beautiful day. We'll talk soon.